Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your stockminer, Brian Johnson, making professional trading simple. And a little up, little down, and pretty much sideways most of the day. NASDAQ did finish slightly stronger than the rest of the indices. I'm going to guess on what? Yeah, probably those Apple earnings that came out and crushed again, which was to be expected. We see that about every time Apple reports. This time, absolutely no difference. And the Nasdaq will be curious. When we get there, let's wait and see what we see on the daily charts for the Nasdaq. But let's start with the Dow, coming back up, retesting the highs here, putting in what could be a double top. I will tell you, this is not a double top, not yet. There's no confirmation of this double top quite yet. So anything can happen. We're still holding support very nicely. Not only did we hold the 50 period moving average here, we've also held the 20 period moving average on closing basis. That's very good for the bulls. And we're still holding this upwards channel line. So if we can get closes back below here, yeah, okay, now maybe we got something to talk about. And then ultimately 11,010, 950 below that. Still my number to be watching down in this area here. Watching for a cut below that. However, as we saw today, we saw some bearish action in the afternoon. But once again, what happened? Yeah, it was met with buying. Got down here to the support, and it was met with buying. So bears not really going anywhere with it quite yet. And the bulls certainly not ready to give up the ghost by any means. Taking a look here on a daily, you can see more of the same. Dropped down on Friday. Took us 3 days, but the bulls got all the way back up here to the top, working at that top. Now we're putting in what could turn out to be a high base formation. Curious to see, if you're an Elliottician, that we have not crossed this 11,154.55 mark in the Dow. We are waiting for a break of that. Anything up above, I'd say 11,160 gives you a pretty good entry to the long side again. Or if you're holding long, that's ultimately what you're looking for, and I would just continue to hold long at that point. Below 10,950 still my point, and gets us below the 20-day moving average at that juncture. So watch carefully, see what we get tomorrow. Any kind of a breakdown, I'm still watching these lower levels for shorting opportunities. Otherwise, no reason not to stay neutral to bullish. NASDAQ, gap up, run back down, run back up, working itself off of the Apple, coming into that double topping area. Same thing here, so still only a potential double top here. No confirmation yet. Any break up and over the 2041 area, that's all beside the wayside. Now, my overhead resistance was 2040 to 2050. We're holding that very nicely so far on 1-2 tests. But I think we get too many more tests of this 2040 area, it's going to break, and it's going to head higher. So, like I said, any break above this 2041-ish area could certainly bring more bulls back into the NASDAQ market and drive it higher towards that 2050 area. From a daily standpoint, oh man, below, at, on, right at that blue line. So we're watching to see if it can blast its way higher from here. I just still, speculative on my part, but I still believe that any push higher here in the NASDAQ is going to be short-lived. It's not going to make it very long. Not very long by, I would say, less than a few days of trading. Maybe within a week, we'd see a reversal and a pullback to at least at or below this blue line again. This is an incredible run, but now that this has been broken, I don't expect this to hold on very much longer here in the NASDAQ. From a weekly standpoint, you can see us right up to that overhead resistance I was talking about, the 2040 to 2050 area. We'll see if that holds come Friday night. SPX on a 60-minute doing the same thing, not quite making the double top. So if you're an Elliottician, yeah, still an opportunity here for a drop from this point. I am still looking at this as still bullish because it's holding on to the 50 and the 20 period moving averages here. Back up above, I'd wait till you get above 1215 before I start looking for any long positions, because you've still got to break up and above this channel line, which now has held once and twice on retests. But any break back up and above these areas can give you another potential long in the SPX. From a daily standpoint, doing the same thing here. Moving down, coming back up, putting in that little hanging man, whatever you want to call it, type of a doji candle up here. I don't know if I want to look at that as a potential reversal. I'm just not sold on it yet. Still, overall, this whole move here is sideways. I'm still calling this high base-ish. That's a word. That's a Johnsonism for you right there. High base-ish. Use that in your vernacular. All right, from a weekly standpoint, still pushing towards this 1225. Man, the markets just don't want to give up. They are incredibly strong right now and just grinding their way towards this 1225. If we can get over that 1215, I see nothing stopping us from getting to 1225 at least in the markets. Maybe they front run it and start a little early, but man, the 1225 is certainly my area. VIX on a daily. Now, curious to see that it is up a good almost 4%. Of course, when you're dealing with 16, I mean, any little tiny move in the VIX is a huge percentage move, so take it for what it's worth. Still holding below this this resistance, and more importantly, look at this big blast to the upside by the VIX, only to be torn downwards in 2 days. Now just still sideways. Really, no fear in these markets. The Goldman Sachs thing kind of made people go, and now they're just kind of going, oh, whatever, who cares? So right back to this blue line, as we've been watching all week long, and holding below this green line that I have drawn in here. So we're at below whatever you want to call it, this this resistance line right here. So we're still bouncing in between this area. Point being, guys, there's no fear coming into the markets quite yet. Apple on a 60-minute. Yeah,